Hello there, and welcome to Dr. T on the 13th of April. The first couple of levels are going to be for the very low and very new, I guess. Well, maybe not new, just people using a really low level account. Anyways, if you want to fast forward to more relevant stages for you, all the times are down in the description, as well as troop healths and everything. As you can see on the first one here, we're just kind of going up the left-hand side, letting the tanks naturally path for the most part, except for that flare to pull them up into the right place. And then just to speed things up, a lot of GBE, because basically nothing can attack your tanks once you're there. So even if you got level 1 tanks, you're good. Also, as far as statues, I'm running 34% GBE, 32% troop health, 25% troop damage, and an 8% troop damage masterpiece, and none of those are boosted. And the reason for it being, I'm trying to build up my power powder, and I know eventually one day it will actually make a difference. I basically, blow the power powder for op attacks, and if I am gonna make a crazy attempt at stage 7 of Dr. T, or, Hammerman, or whatever, kind of needs it, or Mega Crab, but I guess it's gonna be a little bit before we see another Mega Crab, unfortunately. Anyways, for this attack, basically coasting right up the right-hand side. I did drop some GBE on the cannon that was there. The reason for that is that could mess you up if you're a really low-level character, and I just, wanted to show you to probably take that out. Also, when you get to this point and you've got the mortar and the rocket launcher, if you're going to be there for an extended time because you've got low damage, one shock can take out both of those defenses and leave your troops completely unmolested. So if you've got medics that are trying to catch up on healing or whatever, very easily and very efficiently you can take care of that. We're going to move on to stage 3 now, and I'm going for a slightly possibly unconventional landing. Instead of just tearing right into it and going right up the middle, going along the, I guess, left-hand / upper edge of the map, and using those crazy storage units and goo pipes to kind of drive our tanks in there, gather up some free GBE for people who need that extra little bit, because it does make a difference. And we'll just slowly let the tanks creep along. That aside, I know I wasn't listing the statues that I was using and everything. It completely slipped my mind. At one point I was thinking about doing it and just, it didn't happen. So thank you very much for the suggestion to include that, because I'm always looking for ways to improve. I'm very much new at this. So if you guys have any other suggestions, things that you'd like to see in the videos, or information you guys would like to have, please let me know. Throw me some feedback, because I will happily include that stuff in one way, shape, or form. I'll make it happen. Anyways, as our tanks kind of coast along the top here, I flare up into the top corner. Now, I could have been fancy and smoked, but there's no real reason. And I could have been fancy and just shocked the 2 remaining defenses, but again, not really any reason. For me, if you're lower level, definitely, consider those possible options to make yourselves get in there easily. And then I'm just going to drop a ton of GBE on that base to speed things along, and we will slip directly into stage 4, which starts to get a little tougher. We need to use a few more tanks rather. And again, rather than just going right up the gut on the right hand side, which could be a little bit tougher for the low levels, looping far around the left hand side where there's, you know, fewer dangerous defenses to have to deal with. By all means, if obviously you're a higher level and you're just looking to blast through it, the right side is great because you just take out the 3 boom cannons and roll your tanks on through. So we're gonna land here on the left hand side, again using the storage lockers in the top left hand corner. I don't know, like 90% of maps they seem to be there. I don't know if that's on purpose or if just there's someone there who's like, yeah, this is a good place, we'll throw them here. Either way, I'm good with it. Frequently I use them, even if I'm not necessarily taking the path along the left hand side. Keep your eye on this corner if you've got critters, and even really for that matter if you've got artillery or barrage that you're not going to be using to take out other buildings. Because if you throw, you know, if there's 4 buildings there and you throw a 10 energy barrage, you're still profiting 2 energy out of that deal, which, you know, I've had attacks where 2 energy literally makes or breaks the attack. So I definitely don't scoff at like every little scrap of GBE I can get. Actually, and as far as statues, 34% GBE. I also have 2 16% masterpieces. I forgot to mention that. And here I'm just kind of playing around with a little smoky tank action because it seemed like a fun thing to do. So rather than dealing with the boom cannon down there that I'm pretty sure was going to have range, I just slid everybody up into this corner and then threw down a heal or 2 as they take out the, you know, 2 or 3 high damage, well, quote unquote high damage, single target defenses. And then once they're in there and they clear up those handful of sniper towers and cannons, it's, you know, free range on the HQ. Free reign on the HQ? It's very early in the morning. I'm trying to get this out as quickly as possible for you guys, so bear with me. I know my hair is probably still wet from my shower, which anyways, from here, it's a pretty straightforward takeout for Stage 4, and then we're going to jump ahead to Stage 5. Stage 5 actually does start getting a little scarier, so I need to use more troops and everything, but if at least this has helped you get a little bit further, you know, maybe you haven't taken down Stage 4 yet and you were able to take down Stage 4, please let me know. I started making these videos because I found myself at one point kind of trolling through looking for ways to take down, especially in the case of Dr. T, take down, you know, maybe Stage 3, and then all the videos I went and looked at, everyone would just barrage the crap out of it and throw some critters, and I was left sitting there going, oh man, I don't have those. So I really did want to put something out there to help the new boomers, the people who haven't, I guess, got the max landing craft or maxed out armories. It's been a long time in the coming, so obviously my armory is a little more maxed out than I would like when I guess first started or first had the idea. My things were a lot lower level, and this is actually a really sloppy landing. I did not get those flares down, or sorry, those smokes down quick enough, and a couple of my tanks paid the price. Fortunately, it was a lower level boom cannon, so it wasn't that incredibly horrible. Alright, so again, we're going up. For some reason today, it's just been a go up and around the back sort of day. No, I'm going to keep my mind out of the gutter. It couldn't have sounded that bad, right? So, using the natural pathing of the tanks, obviously, as much as possible to save energy on flares, we're rolling around the top of the base and taking out the boom cannon that is going to be in range and most definitely a danger to our tanks. Luckily, all we need is to use some critters to do that, and then regroup right up near the top, and we should be able to clear out the last of the defenses here without any real trouble. And of course, the critters are not going to last long with all of the AoE, so we'll use some GBE to try and speed things up a little bit. And that should be all she wrote for stage 5, which brings us to stage 6. And with some movie magic, we're going to have to do this quick styles. And by that, I mean just cutting to it rather than letting troops refresh and whatnot. I kind of thought this was an interesting level just because it's a little bit clear-cut, you know? They were going for the very minimalist approach on this map. Not a lot of trees or rocks, just a nice flat plain. There's one or two, but you know what I mean. So, for this attack, there are a lot of scary defenses. We got boom cannons all over the joint. We got shock launchers all over the joint. Sniper towers and cannons just to make our lives miserable. And I'm going to go up the right-hand side this time so that I can loop around the back again. Fortunately, these two boom cannons are just close enough to each other that if each one gets a barrage, the overflow or the AoE effect of the barrage takes out the other one for me. Obviously, aim and levels will vary, but it's a nice handy little double barrage if you're looking for it. So we take out the boom cannon whilst it is shocked, because shocking, we're afraid of crap of it. By the time we get to this level, the boosts are getting big enough. Even the sniper towers start to get a little bit scary for me. So we're trying to avoid as much of that as possible, especially when I'm letting my tanks roam free in the countryside apparently, and getting them hit by the boom cannons unnecessarily. So I'm using critters at this point to distract the sniper towers and the cannons, and the reason for this is because shortly in the attack I know that I'm going to have to deal with like a really tight cluster of a lot of defenses, and it's a little bit of a mix of, you know, AoE and high damage single target. So I want to save those shocks. I want to keep the cost as low as possible so that when I do finally move into that zone, if you would, I can start hitting that block of defenses and keep them all shocked, or at least keep as many shocked as possible. And here we go, rolling up on it. I got a solid cluster of 6, it looks like. I was hoping I could get that last cannon, but it was just out of range. And then we'll try on this one. There we go, we got the remaining handful of defenses. And it looks like I've already lost a couple of tanks. This is a sloppier attack, but it'll get the job done. And Alright, we've got some drunk tanks who decided, you know, we're gonna go south for the winter. So we're just gonna flare these back up into place, because once we're up in this position, I think there's one sniper tower that can actually reach us, and all we gotta do is sit there and relax as we shoot down HQ Stage 6 for Dr. T. I took a quick look at 7. I don't know if it's going to be happening today. If it does, it'll probably be happening at a later point in time after I can really pore over it and obsess and stare at it for hours. Anyways, thanks for watching, and hopefully this helps you guys out. Have yourselves a great day, and see you for the next one.